that now. Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. We're going to do your April read. Use the Russian Tarot of St. Petersburg, and Magnetic Poetry, and this one, Book of Answers. Everything you need to know is in the description box. My name is Ashley. I'm clairsentient, clairaudient, and claircognizant. When I hear ringing in my ears during a reading on the right side, those are messages from people I know that have passed on, and on the left, messages from my spirit guides. Monique the Freak was just playing by Ween, so that was interesting. What was the song before that? Absent by Snot. But it was the live version, which was interesting. Let's get your magnetic poetry to start. I've been shuffling the cards while I was sitting here. Did an update on my laptop, but yeah. Not a lot of words for you. This is your April read. Please check out your rising moon and Venus sign for additional messages. Oh. An S. And then, there you go. That's what we have for you. So take a look-see there. Write them down. And apologies on the nails. I'm just taking a break from doing my nails. So let's get started for you. We're going to do past, present, future spread. And just for the purposes of, YouTube, I'll go ahead and I'll shuffle these a couple more times. Sexy lady. Okay. Somebody is in a little bit of a risque mood with that chocolate and, all that other stuff like that. I don't know. We're going to do 6 cards each line. I only take flippers and jumpers. So that's what we're doing today. Yeah. Okie dokie. And twist for fairness. Okay. And it was your full moon. A full moon for you. Libra. It was Libra's full moon. Past energy for Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus past energy for April through to May. What do we got? Oh, we have some flippers already. Just a sec. Get rid of that notification. These ones here. We have the Moon and the 5 of Clubs. So there is a little bit of a hidden feeling of fear, confusion over an argument or conflict of sorts with the 5 of Clubs, which is basically Wands in this deck. Cancerian energy. Some people attribute the Moon to Pisces. However, I consider it to be a Cancerian card because the Cancer is ruled by the Moon. There could be nightmares about an argument, or nightmares where you're replaying in your head an argument at this time. You could also be a Cancer, Gemini cusp individual, or you could be dealing with somebody with Cancer in their chart. You could also alternatively have Cancer in your chart. But I feel like this is more about nightmares about an argument or confusion over an argument or a conflict of sorts. We'll see what the surrounding cards have to say about it. Nightmares, fear, confusion. What else? Over conflict. That's in the past. What else in the past? For air signs, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. Okay. The Star, Aquarian energy. It could have to do with healing or a long-cherished wish, hope, goal, or dream. Something that is bigger than just, an immediate wish, Again, healing energy is also inherent here as well. But I do think that this is more about... I wanted the gilded version of these. It was like more foily, but I didn't ended up getting it. Could have been an argument with with an Aquarius individual. but there's confusion about it because, and it might be that if you're confused if the argument healed something, or confused if you've healed the situation, like is the argument really over? You could be attempting in your dream state, because you're having nightmares about the argument, because I'm really getting that strongly with that moon card there. You could be attempting, because this is what happens when we're sleeping, we're attempting to heal the energy from the daytime. So it could be that, you're attempting to heal your side, your aspect, your side of the argument, because it does take two people to argue. So in conflict, you might be dreaming and having nightmares about the conflict in order to heal it from your perspective. But it seems here that what you're dealing with is some confusion also about whether or not, it's like that question, are we good? I'm really getting the healing aspect of the star here, as opposed to, that long cherished hope, goal, dream, off in the distance that's there, even though the clouds shroud the sky, and block the stars out of view. Like, I'm not getting that. I'm getting more of a thing like it's a healing energy instead. Yeah. Tell us more. For the past, for our air signs, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra, 2 clubs. Yeah, you're understanding that there seemed to be an impatience or the need for more patience in this situation. Sorry. Yeah. A need for more patience in this situation was warranted, I think. Or somebody was being impatient with you. Maybe you feel like time is going to heal the conflict in between you and another person. Like, maybe if you give it time, everything will be all good. Like, people just need to mellow out, and it's going to take a second, and as long as you're giving it time, then that'll happen. Yeah, like taking the time and the space to wait it out a little bit will help things kind of cool off. Let's see, what else? And sometimes that is true. Like, if you keep at it after you've had conflict with somebody, it doesn't make things better. It's like, scratching scratching a wound. It continues to reopen the wound, Tell me more. A Hangman in reverse. You gain perspective on this. Piscean energy. So this could be something that happened during Pisces season, especially considering that we just had Mercury retrograde, which a Gemini it's not Gemini's favorite, because Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Miscommunication was involved in this, perhaps, because I'm getting that so strongly. But you gain perspective. You've seen something from many different angles, and now you're kind of acutely aware, rather, that patience is needed, time is needed. There needs to be some patience and waiting involved in healing this. Time away to gain perspective. You have gained that perspective at this point, after taking a time out, a breather of sorts. And the 3 of Coins in the reverse. Yeah, a broken friendship, contract, a deal came to an end with the 3 of Coins in the reverse. It could also be that there was something mentioned in this argument about somebody being off their rocker, and it kind of became a personal affront to somebody about whether or not they were imbalanced in one of their 3 aspects of self. Because that is what the 3 of Coins does also represent. It doesn't just represent contracts and partnerships and all that kind of stuff. It also represents the trinity of mind, body, and spirit. And if somebody had said something about somebody else being off kilter or off their rocker, that could be the thing here, is that somebody had said something about somebody else being imbalanced, and maybe that's the other thing, though, is that maybe you realize where you were imbalanced, and you were kind of seeing things from the perspective that an imbalanced perspective. We'll see what the surrounding cards in the present for you. Air signs. Aquarius, Gemini, Libra. For the present. Oh, this is too many? It's too many. I can't take that many, you guys. Judgment. A decision. There's a decision that is being made, and oddly enough, it may be a decision that's being based a little bit off of some of the confusion or the dream state. Aries and Virgo energy here. It could, and I think it's funny that it's the first card in our present line, which is, we're in Aries season right now. But there's a need for a decision to be made, and I think you're also aware of that. And I think that your dreams, your nightmares are actually, there might be something about your nightmares that is, contributing to the pressure to make a decision, or heralding the need to make a decision at this time. You could also be feeling as if your nightmares and this conflict of the past are causing you pressure to make a decision, or like rather not pressure to make a decision. It's become apparent that you do need to move forward, having made a decision of sorts on some matter. The need to make a decision is the result of this argument, or you're being pushed to make a decision because this argument arose. Your nightmares are featuring strongly here or your dreams, something that's happening during your sleep. You might even be having some issues with your sleep. It's causing you the need to, it's almost like atonement is happening. It's like time to pay the piper also here. It's like here's the time where it's time to atone. It's time to pay for the things that you've done, the things that you've said, but also other people, vice versa. Reaping what you've sown. The trumpeter's call. The conflict is a part of it, though. Yeah, there's no movement forward, no travel, a change of address is not happening, but it's progress forward that isn't happening also. Another Cancerian card, somebody with Cancer in their chart, could also have to do with the family or family issues. I just heard family values. That's interesting and weird. But with the Chariot in the reverse, you're not traveling somewhere, you're not making a trip somewhere. Somebody else has decided they're not going to be taking a trip somewhere as a result of the conflict. But there's also some paranoia here about not moving forward, or not traveling, or not relocating. This is always my change of address card. So in the present, the decision that you're making has to do with whether or not you're going to travel to see somebody, or whether or not, or somebody else is making the decision that they're not coming to travel to see you, or somebody isn't moving, or isn't progressing or moving forward on something as a result of this conflict. And I think it's because there's healing that's required also. Or because their hopes and dreams are misguided, or they're looking off at something completely different. I don't get that, though. I get it's the healing aspect of things. Tell us more. The argument is the reason, though. The argument and the anxiety and the confusion and the nightmares and the things that are happening at night. There's something that's happening at night. And the decision is being made, or you're being called to action to make a decision. And it's more important, it's more imperative that you're healing as opposed to, pressing on and pressing forward, charging forward, right? Something needs to be healed. I don't know what. We'll find out next, right? It's in the present for you. In the present. Yeah, okay. So there is somebody isn't moving forward because is a lack of firm. They're feeling there's a lack of firm foundations. It's either you or somebody else. You're especially because this argument happened because it is kitty corner to the the 5 of Wands, and you feel like you need to take more time before you decide to move forward with something. This is representative of the four posts of the marriage bed, the four walls of the home, and you're not feeling stability within your home space. You also are not feeling stability within a relationship that that should have at this point firmer foundations, and it doesn't. You feel that this needs to be healed before you can travel, or before you can change address, or before you can move forward with something. And so you're waiting on it in the present. You feel that you need to have a firmer, solidly laid foundation with either a relationship or in your home space before you can do that. And so you're taking the time to heal a conflict. And that's important to do. You can't just press forward, and that becomes avoidance of the obvious, avoidance of issues. And then the more issues pile up that you avoid, that just becomes like a snowball of shit. A shit ball, if you will. And nobody wants that. Like the more we it's like the more that you avoid your problems, the bigger your problems become. So you're attempting to heal those things before you move forward, because you don't want that on the back burner simmering away, becoming a larger issue. 5 of Swords. There's self-deception here. Yeah, you might be trying not to deceive yourself, and so that's why you're not moving forward also. You or somebody else. Self-deception. If you see in this card, the important part is that somebody feels that they've won, but they haven't really won, because that whole town is burning and some dude is crying, and this other person's like, look at me with all my swords, ha ha ha. Triumph isn't triumph when that is the end result. Nobody wins when a fucking whole village is burning. People are suffering, But you're waiting until you have a clearer picture of things and a clearer idea within yourself. When you can say that you are not deceiving yourself and therefore not deceiving others by osmosis. You're waiting and healing so that you aren't practicing self-deception, and so that you understand from the stable sense of self and stability in your relationships and stability in your home space. You want to be able to proceed with the correct perspective, and so you're holding back and you're waiting for that reason in the present, given what's happened in the past. Tell us more. And that's a wise move. You want to be very clear in yourself and in your own energy, and secure and confident in your decision making. You don't want to look back and say, I lied to myself about that. So, sorry, false alarm. This thing with you isn't going to happen because I was lying to myself in the first place. That sucks. Anyway, what else? Present energy, air signs, Aquarius, Gemini, Libra. I almost dropped the Emperor and the 7 of Cups in the reverse. Not going to speak to those unless they fall out. It's almost as if that's final word. You don't want to say anything else about it. In the present. Tell us more. Tell us more, air signs. Okay. High Priestess. There's something intuitively that's nagging at you at this time. You could be turning to the occult. Another Pisces card. There's something during Pisces season, especially with this Hangman right over top of it, that's nagging at your intuition. You could be feeling like there is a secret that was being kept, or somebody else was. feeling like there was a secret that was being kept and their intuition was nagging at them. But that's another reason that you're holding back your energy at this time. You're trying not to deceive yourself, but you also feel like there's something in your intuition that's nagging at you. You're attempting to gain perspective on it in the past, but in the future, in the present line, you could be looking at esoteric means in order to try and clarify something for yourself. But there's more of a feeling as if your intuition is telling you already. Intuitively, you know the right way to move. There's something that's calling you in that regard. Connecting with the spiritual side of things is super important at this time, so that you don't deceive yourself. But there's some secretive energy here during Pisces season that you keep thinking back on, and intuitively it's bothering you. Ten of Cups in the reverse. It's knocking you back into a feeling of independence and keeping yourself responsible for your happiness, as opposed to looking at that zenith of happiness with another person, like that perfect union. You're not looking to that right now. You're looking to yourself for your happiness, as opposed to putting that on somebody else, which I think right now might be wise, because you're not trusting your own instincts. You feel as if you're deceiving yourself, or you're preventing yourself from deceiving yourself, and you're trying to gain perspective on something here. You could even be asking yourself, what is my idea of happiness? Luck in love hasn't worked for you. I'm seeing the horseshoe shape here, as if you were just trusting that luck would find you, your Ten of Cups, when really you're attempting to, harken back to the joy within the self and self-love and self-worth, so that you can get back to that Ten of Cups. A 10 in reverse is a 9. And reestablishing the unity of mind, body, and spirit is important to you at this time, so you can be secure in your decisions moving forward about how to achieve that 10, that happy home life with another. There's something nagging at your intuition, though. You think there's something being kept secret from you in the future for you. You are moving forward. This is always a trip over water for me, but it's also moving away from things that aren't working for you, moving away from something that's burning, like a city burning behind you, so that you can move forward towards something, a land of greater promise. This can also be really relocation, but it's more so for me a trip over water, quite literally direct translation to trip over seas. But it is a trip over water, and it's moving forward movement, leaving something behind for something of greater promise. That is a decision that you will be making, but it won't be until the future, not in the present. You're postponing this decision until you have a clearer picture of what's going on. It's a decision that you do not take lightly. I don't think that you're relocating. I think that you're taking a trip. You're taking some time away. Leaving something behind. But you're going to come back, like exactly what I was saying. You're going to come back, because this will be walking away from something in order to go for something of greater emotional fulfillment. You're coming back. You're circling back around with that Eight of Cups in the reverse. You're coming back to it to reevaluate it after you take a time out with that Six of Swords. You're moving forward. You're taking some time away, going somewhere over water, a trip over water, to gain some perspective, I think. But you will circle back to this to figure out if it's worth walking away from. This can even be reconciliation. I think, you're with this Four of Cups, Four of Wands in the reverse up here. It's in order to make the decision if you really should walk away from it in order to exercise self-love. should you circle back around to it, you're gonna circle back around to it so that you can determine whether or not you really should walk away from it after you've taken some time away. Show me more. Seven of Swords. Yeah, you feel that there could be treachery afoot. This is the guy sneaking away in the night with the swords while the soldiers are sleeping. You could also in the future be doing this yourself, sneaking away with your things in the night because something isn't working for you in the present. But I don't think that's the right way to go about things. I think that this is deceptive. I think that it is treachery. That's the word. It's dishonesty. But I think it's dishonesty on somebody else's part. The firm foundation isn't there. And you might actually, in the future, although I'm not a monger of paranoia, I don't want you to consider this the actual reality that's going to happen. I'm just reading the cards. But it could be that when you circle back to evaluate whether you really do need to walk away from something of emotional fulfillment, and that doesn't have to be love, but something of emotional fulfillment. And if you do want to evaluate whether you, in the future, whether you should be walking away from something of emotional fulfillment in order to exercise self-worth, it could be that somebody else has already made that decision for you. And that they have decided in and of themselves that, maybe they were deceiving themselves. But maybe you were deceiving yourself and thought you had the choice, when it was already a shaky foundation to begin with, and this person didn't feel like there was movement forward, or they could see it was going nowhere. Maybe you could see it was going nowhere, but you were willing to give it another shot, and this person knew it was never going to be anything. It was already a shaking foundation, and so they're going to peace out. Maybe they're going to make the choice for you. These are all maybes, right? And again, this doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. This can be friendships. This could be coworkers. This could be family stuff, Ten of Swords. There's pain involved. The self-deception of the present results in pain in the future. You deceived yourself into potentially thinking that those shaky foundations could be healed. It's something about deceiving yourself, and when you knew that your intuition was calling to you about something that was going on. And so there's sickness, grief, loss, abandonment, a feeling of sadness, ultimate sadness, but with it comes an ending so that you can eventually heal. But first comes the pain. Here comes the pain. I think the pain is a result of the treachery, though. It's a betrayal. It's a deception. It's something that you initially, in the present, are deceiving yourself about, but I think somebody else is deceiving you in the future, and that results in the pain because your intuition was trying to tell you something in the present here. Tell us more. Finally, for you, air signs. Aquarius, Libra, Gemini. We got our two here. Page of Cups in the reverse and the Eight of Wands in the reverse. Okay, and that's the nail in the coffin, the shittiest part of it all. The shittiest part of it all is that there isn't even a little apology. There are no tokens, small tokens of affection. There isn't even the slightest little tiny piece of something. There's no communication. In fact, there may even be blocked communication. That's the hardest part for you. Is that your intuition was telling you in the present that there was no Ten of Cups coming from this. There was no happy home life. There was no zenith of happiness or emotional fulfillment that was coming from this. And in the end, somebody couldn't even give you that little tiny, gesture of emotion. No show of emotion whatsoever. In fact, even worse than that, they're not communicating with you at all. Alternatively, because that didn't happen on your side or their side, you're blocking that person. You're saying, fucking get stuffed, you know? I don't know. I'd like for you to take a moment. We're going to use this guy here, and I'd like for you to either ask an open-ended question. I haven't figured out how to fan these pages correctly. There we go. An open-ended question, or a yes-no question, and it'll come up with something for you from the book of answers here. For Aquarius, Gemini, Libra, what do we have for them? Startling events may occur as a result. So whatever your question was, that's your answer. So if your question was, should I do this or that, that's your answer. Startling events may occur as a result. Okay? All right. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's a bad thing. It depends. Startling events can be good things too. Anyway, I hope that this was helpful to you. I just read the cards. I just hold up a mirror. So, do this if this made sense, and subscribe if you don't and you like what I do. I really missed doing these. I got really burnt out on the love reading. I'm not a fan of love readings, because this can be so much different, and there are so many other things that we can come up with from this kind of stuff instead, you know. Seems like there's a lot of stuff about passionate, inspired communication here, and about ideas with a lot of wands here. But there's also emotion behind it, and that's tough. But, you know, coming off the back of a Venus retrograde and a a Mercury retrograde, and having Venus move back into Pisces, I mean, I don't know. I am my Pisces, my Venus is in Pisces, so so is my Mars. But anyway, I don't really know. But it just kind of feels like this is kind of par for the course with the planets where they are. Anyway, enjoy your time out there, and we'll see you when we see you next. Bye.